And we're back.
Yes.
Call to an interview. Who would have thought this would be a success, Mike?
Not me.
I think you kind of did since you came up with a.
I came up with it, but I didn't think it would blast off with 30 views.
30 views. I mean, we're breaking records here. So, you got Cody, then I got Matt. Who you got us for this week, man?
You know, I looked far and wide, and I thought we should bring in somebody wild on this one. Maybe a stallion? Could
be. Yeah. Hello.
Wild stallions. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Welcome,
Going
Brian.
well.
Welcome
Yes.
to the shit show.
Thank you for having me to the shit show. I knew everybody else called it that. I didn't realize you guys called it that.
We're pretty legit here. Actually, we're very glad to have you. You're one of the more knowledgeable guys in all of these leagues. And even though you have some crap-ass takes on some movies, I mean, at least they're interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call it. Okay, yeah, I would. The crap. Yeah.
It's good stuff. So, let's get right into it. Mike, start it up.
Question 1, Brian. What's a movie or movie moment that started your love for movies?
It's kind of a cliche answer, but I'd say probably the first one that kind of really kicked it off was Star Wars, the original Star Wars, before it was retitled A New Hope and all that. Because I mean, I was probably about 5 years old when I saw that movie in the theaters because I'm old as shit. And I remember sitting in the theater and just being like, amazed by, everything happening on screen, like, wow, look what they can do in the movies kind of thing. And then, I mean, from then on, I kind of watched, I kind of watched movies all the time, like with my family and stuff like that. But then actually once I hit high school, my older siblings both went off to college. And it's like starting with like my junior year. And starting with that point, I kind of lived in the video store. So that kind of really kicked off my love for movies because I was just watching constant movies because I was the only kid at home, so I had a lot of time to myself. Watched tons of movies at the video store. I got to know everybody there. They started giving me free shit. And then after high school, I actually started working in and managing a video store. So there you go.
It's actually quite fun because I consider myself one of the older guys in this community. And this movie was in theaters 3 years before I was born. So, dude, you old.
Yeah, I am old. I think I actually had the title of the oldest person around here until Garth showed up recently. So he's taking that from me.
Well, I think it's gonna be the same one, but what was the first movie you remember seeing in theaters?
It might be Star Wars. Strangely, what I remember about seeing Star Wars the first time was my family had this like full-size van, right? And the middle row of seats were like two separate seats that could like swivel all the way around. And I just remember when my brother and I, when we left that movie on the ride home, we unlocked the seats and we're sitting there swiveling around, acting like we're in the guns, the Millennium Falcon the whole time. For some reason, I just have this clear memory of that. But I also remember, I think it was before this, but I'm not sure. Is for some reason I distinctly remember seeing Sleeping Beauty in the theater. It was obviously a re-release. I'm not that old. But for some reason, I just remember seeing it because I remember like hiding my face or hiding behind my mom like during like the Maleficent scenes because I was scared of her. So I was very, very young at the time. But I have a vague memory of that, but I'm not sure if it was before or after Star Wars. But those are probably the first two.
Nice. I like that.
I'm actually appreciating some of the Disney shout-outs. People here act like they were never children and they didn't watch cartoons. It's like, what's the first movie you remember? Oh, I remember watching Blue Velvet. Be honest with yourself. We all loved Disney movies and we all grew up on them.
I loved all the Disney movies when I grew up with them, and then I didn't start to dislike them, but I wasn't like as interested in those like when I got into like middle school and early high school and stuff. But by the time about the time like Disney's own renaissance with like Rescuers Down Under and Little Mermaid and some of those, and then obviously all through the 90s, I really got back into them again. So
Good stuff. Mike, you go number 3.
Number 3. If you could pick one movie from any era to be able to see in theaters, which movie would you choose?
If you asked me this question a few years ago, I would have a big long list. But it's just the fact is, like in recent years, they've actually started to release a lot of stuff in theaters with like Fathom events and special events,
Yeah.
and like when a new Die Hard Indiana Jones movies comes out, they like there's a special event we can go watch them all in the theaters, things like that. So there's a lot of movies that would have made my list, but I've actually gotten to see almost everything I wanted to in the theaters. One I would love to see on the big screen again is Mad Max Fury Road. Just because that movie is such a visual feast. It's just, I mean, even if you don't like the movie, a lot of people don't like the movie because it's short on story, but I love the movie. But it's just so visually beautiful, and there's so much going on, and that was a great one to see in theaters. I'd love a chance to see that one more time.
That's a great fucking choice. I like that.
Honestly, this is a weird pick in this community. A lot of people seem to dislike it for some reason that I don't understand. Because this movie kicks ass.
Yeah,
it really does. I mean, I understand that some people that want more story to their movies that they watch. I can see them not liking it as much because it's really just we drive there and we drive back and that's the movie. But on an action standpoint, it's amazing. The stunts are amazing, and like I said, visually, it's just awesome. So,
honestly, I think personally, I like this the best out of all the Mad Max movies.
I agree. I mean, I don't dislike the old Mad Max movies, but I've never loved them as much as most people. So I went into this with very low expectations, and it's by far my favorite of the series.
I actually watched them I don't know, maybe because they were Australian films and we didn't really get those here in Panama. I got them when I was like over my 20s, and I was like, these are cool, but obviously they had no budget.
Yeah, that's clear.
100%.
So then we get Fury Road with a budget, and it's the same director, same vision, and that's pretty cool.
It kind of feels to me like the director who finally got to get on film the vision he had in his head all along. He finally had the money and the tools and all that kind of thing. It's like this is, I think, what he kind of pictured from the beginning.
Probably. Mike, what is your favorite Mad Max film?
Oh, I go Road Warrior and then Fury Road.
I could have swore you would like Thunderdome for some reason.
Oh, I know. I do enjoy the shit out of Thunder. It's so ridiculous, but
he's just a big Tina Turner fan.
Of course.
When you watch these things and you see the original Mad Max, it kind of feels like very normal for a Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
The first one. But then everything after 2 is just like, whoo, crazy. Okay, I think you already answered this one too. You were answering questions ahead of time, but that's good.
I'm sorry.
Did you ever get to experience physical movie rentals? DHS?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I started renting movies was like, back when you had like pay for a membership at the video store. It was like, $30 a year or something like that, just to have a membership to then pay more to rent movies, things like that.
I'm not even that old.
Yeah, but like I said, it really kicked in high school when I started just living in the video store. I made a lot of friends there, and then obviously then also a DVD later on. But then there's also Laserdisc. On there. I rented a Laserdisc. Damn it.
So then 4.1, Mike.
4.1. What's your favorite video store?
My favorite video store was actually a local chain. They had, I want to say, 3 or 4 locations around the area. It was called Hollywood Video, but this is before the chain Hollywood Video moved in. Now, I think the chain already existed, but just didn't know about these. They didn't know about each other, and so once they came in, they had to change their name. But I liked that because it was cheaper, which is important, especially when you rent a lot.
Yeah.
But it felt like this moviegoers, mecca. I mean, go in there and there was just the displays they had, and they had so much other movie merchandise and things like that. It wasn't just the videos. And so I really loved just going there, and just as a movie fan, it just felt awesome.
Do you have a favorite video store like that, Mike? Like a small one, non-chain one?
It was the one my dad worked at called Super Video Plus in the 90s. It was kind of like what Brian was saying, which was it had movies, but it had other shit as well in it. movie related. I just loved going in there as a little kid, just hanging out all the fucking time.
I actually had a small like privately owned video in my neighborhood called Emmy Video. It was by the Emmy brothers. That was their last name. And this is like 1990 Wild West of whatever in Central America. There was no like copyright police or anything. So I could literally see them. I mean, I just got to the store. The guys bought one tape of a movie. I actually saw them doing this for in '95 with Mortal Kombat. I got there and they had Mortal Kombat playing on the TV in the store. I was like, "Damn, can I rent that?" And they're like, "You gotta wait 20 minutes." I was like, "Why?" because we're actually copying it. So wait.
Yeah.
The guys had 3 more VCRs connected, like copying the movie so they could rent several copies.
It was the original. It was the original video on demand.
Yeah, exactly.
Which one do you need? Okay, let's get a copy of that for you. Here you go.
Yeah, and the guy was like, wait. Credits. We need to, yeah, credits. Here you go. $2. So, since you did get to rent on a video store, what was the first movie you chose to rent by yourself? And by this, I mean, like, this is my money. I don't care if it's like paper routes or whatever. This is my money. I'm going to rent this.
I think it was paper route money, as a matter of fact. It's one of two. They were released around the same time, so I don't know which is first. It's either Beverly Hills Cop 2 or RoboCop.
Holy shit.
Because before that, I could, when I was renting with my parents or my family, whatever, they weren't renting like R-rated movies and stuff like that. So once I could rent my own, I'm like, I'm going to watch these R-rated movies. So one of those two, my first ones.
Dude, both those are amazing fucking choice. Beverly Hills Cop 2, I love the fucking Beverly Hills Cop series as a little kid, man. Those were so fucking amazing to watch over and over. Except for the third one. The third one I never got into.
Yeah, the third one.
I actually never watched the first one. And to this day, I haven't seen it. But I did see the second one. I think this is the one that was directed by Tony Scott.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was actually, I liked it a lot. But definitely, if you have to choose, man, RoboCop is the superior film.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that one first of all, it just looked cool. I mean, just the cover of it, you're like, I gotta watch it. And also, I'd heard so much at the time about how this is the most violent, gory action movie you've ever seen in your life, and it almost got an NC-17. So I'm like, I gotta check this out.
Actually, I still have nightmares because my dad did not care about this stuff. So when it came out, he was like, "Let's go watch RoboCop," and I was like 6 years old. I was like, "Sure."
Watching some guy melting, yeah.
Let's go. Yeah,
Give this man a hand.
The melting guy was like the top of it. Also, by the way, didn't John Landis direct Beverly Hills Cops 3?
I think he might have.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I think he did.
And that movie's so bad, though.
Yeah.
Well, good choices for these two, I guess. So, Mike, number 5.
Number 5. Who's your favorite actor?
This is one I have trouble always answering because there's tons of actors I like. I don't know if I have a favorite. If I'm going to pick an all-time favorite, actually, I think it's already been covered in a previous interview. But if I had to pick like all-time favorite, it probably will be Harrison Ford, just because he's so ingrained in my memory with the Star Wars and the Indiana Jones, and as well as other movies, The Fugitive and all these other ones. But he's kind of, I don't know, in recent years kind of fallen off. He doesn't do as many of the kind of movies I love, and he's made some real stinkers too. So as far as still working consistently, I think good today. I really like Jeff Bridges. As far as more of
That's a good choice.
He's the kind of guy who, even if the movie isn't great, he's usually really good in. Now, sometimes he can go a little overboard with his weird voices. I will give you that.
R.I.P.
I actually enjoy R.I.P.D. though, even with a weird voice. R.I.P.D. is better than Men in Black movies. I'll stick with that. But no, I don't claim R.I.P.D. is like great cinema, but I do enjoy it. But even in bad movies, I think Jeff Bridges is usually very, very good. I love his acting performances. And then the other one who I just didn't list just because he doesn't seem to work very much anymore is Kevin Kline. I always loved Kevin Kline. I wish he would work more.
Yeah,
That one I liked a lot too. He deserved a better career overall, I think, because he just seemed to drop out at somewhere, and you can still like see him making some weird indie small.
Yeah, he pops up once in a while, but he kind of, and when he does, it's usually a more serious drama. And I liked back when it was more fun days, when he was doing like Fish Called Wanda and things like that. So.
Weirdly, my first memory of Kevin Kline is with a big mustache in French Kiss. So, going off of that one, what's your favorite actress?
Favorite actress? Give it some time, and I think somebody's going to take this one over. But right now, I think I'd probably go with one of two again. I'm cheating on all these questions. I'm giving you two answers. I think Frances McDormand is up there, which is odd because she does a lot of Coen Brothers movies, and the Coen Brothers for me are very hit and miss. I mean, I like a lot of them, but there's a lot of them I don't love, like a lot of other people do. But again, she's somebody who, in almost any movie she does, I think that she's really good, even if the movie isn't great. She's very, consistently, she's, a great dramatic actress, but she's also extremely funny.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like Marge Gunderson?
Oh, from Fargo?
Yes.
Yes.
I like the character. The movie is good, not great.
Go!
See, when it comes to Coen Brothers, my tastes run more towards. I mean, I like Raising Arizona, The Big Lebowski, those kind of things. And Fargo, I do think is a good movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie in any way, shape, or form. I'm just not don't praise it like some people. Andrew Barr. So.
Oh man, that's good. Keep the train going, Mike.
Oh wait. I also want to say that given a couple more years, somebody who's really rising up in my eyes is Rebecca Ferguson. I think she could easily take that spot. If anybody saw Dr. Sleep, she is amazing in Dr. Sleep.
I actually start paying her attention when they brought her back for a second Mission Impossible movie. I was like, wow, she's really good at this. She probably can do better movies too. And then she popped up in Men in Black International. I was like, maybe I was wrong. But I still like her.
Yeah, Men in Black had all kinds of great actors. I mean, I enjoy Chris Hemsworth. I enjoy, her. I enjoy. I'm blanking out on the name. The girl.
Valkyrie.
Yes. I'm just blanked out her name for some reason. And
wow.
Anyway, had a great cast. Just the movie wasn't good.
Jesus, we're all.
the fucking name either.
It's like right next to my tongue too. I'm now I gotta look it
I'm
up.
gonna fucking Google it. I don't care.
Tessa Thompson. Thank you, Jesus.
Tessa Thompson. That's it.
Good thing this isn't a trivia match.
Yeah. Okay. So now we do move on.
Favorite director.
Favorite director, again, it's kind of a cliche answer, and I know we've already gotten this in the past, but it's always going to be Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Spielberg, I mean, again, he's somebody who, as he's gotten older and more mature, he started making, fewer of the movies that I really always loved him for, because I love the more, lighthearted, the action movies, the E.T.s and the Indiana Jones and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he always still makes great quality movies, and he still once in a while goes back to the well for the fun stuff. Ready Player One. I'm really looking forward to his version of West Side Story.
Oh yeah.
So he's always going to be. I think he's always going to be my favorite. But the other one that is really up there for me actually is Tony Scott.
Ooh,
I prefer Tony Ridley. I mean, I think Tony's more consistently put out the kind of movies that I enjoy.
Yeah.
He has a very more consistent visual tone too. I think you can always tell kind of a Tony Scott movie.
I do think that sometimes he overdoes that visual tone. Like you get into stuff like Man on Fire and some of those movies where it's just kind of like all over the place with this weird visual flares. It can be a little bit much, but I still really like it. He
directed Colombiana, right?
What's that?
Colombiana was his movie too?
I don't think he did that one.
No, I don't think he did.
No? That movie looks exactly like The Man on Fire.
Probably somebody copying Tony Scott's stuff.
100%.
But I mean, he's done everything from Top Gun to Last Boy Scout to True Romance to Crimson Tide to tons of great movies.
Last Boy Scout, some of my great fucking jokes.
I think he did do. Did he do Domino?
Domino. Oh yeah, that's it.
He might have done that one, and
He
that
did.
was
He
the
did
same
Domino.
kind of visual craziness.
That was actually he was a very good director. I did enjoy most of his stuff. So weird pick though. Spielberg. Soon.
Well, also, I mean, we're talking favorites. I'm not going to sit here and say he's like the best director in Hollywood because that's best is different than favorite. There's very different
Yeah,
answers for every one of
yeah.
these questions. So,
And you're talking to the guy who likes Tim Burton, so. So, what's your favorite movie?
this is coming as just shock to anyone who knows me. Again, though, I have two answers. I'm going to go with Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's
Fucking
probably besides Star Wars that the movie, and actually I like Raiders even better than Star Wars over time. But it's just kind of the movie that I think is just perfect in every way, shape, or form. I mean, there's a few of those, but that's the one that's kind of always lasted. It's like my favorite. It's just so fun. I can't find a flaw in that movie. And then also the same thing with Die Hard, the original Die Hard.
Great fucking choices. Both of them are fucking amazing.
You were like shooting for Mike today, right?
Mike is one of the. If you asked me to name in this community the people whose tastes mine most align with, it would probably be Mike and or Matt Queller. It seems like it seems to have a lot of opinions in line with these people. Now I'm not into as into the horror stuff as Mike is. Although I will say, when like I was talking about earlier, when I lived in the video store, I rented every horror movie they had multiple times, even the stuff you'd never even heard of. But I'm like, hey, that box cover looks cool. I'm gonna rent that. So I saw all that old horror stuff.
Hell yes.
I'm pretty sure Mike heard of it. Probably not me, but Mike. Yeah, when you see his favorite movies, man, there's some weird shit going on.
Well, according to Mike, everything's a great fucking movie. So
Fair.
It's skewed, yes.
you can always tell a Mike review on Letterboxd.
Okay, Mike.
Spielberg movies or Burton movies? We already know where this is going.
I'm gonna have to say Tim Burton. No, yeah, this is an easy pick for me for Spielberg. Burton, I really liked up until about '98. He had a great.
99 Sleepy Hollow. Come on.
Yeah, Sleepy Hollow. Exactly. It's not that. He had a great run, with Beetlejuice and Batman and Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and these early run, and then he just kind of hit this wall. And he still puts out a good movie now and then. I really enjoy Sweeney Todd. There are other movies that are good, like Big Fish and some of those, but he puts out a lot of junk too. So I'm sorry, Nazario.
I mean, I get it. It's not for everybody. And
yes, I'm always hopeful. The thing is, he's a director that even though he's made a string of stuff I don't like, I still have hope. So I still go see every movie he makes, thinking, maybe he's back in form in this one. But
you know what? I think the last movie he made that I really didn't like, was Alice in Wonderland. Because
I've still never seen that because I just saw the trailers. I'm like, yeah, I have no interest in this.
I mean, most people don't like Dark Shadows, but I think that movie was.
I don't hate Dark Shadows.
Yes, that's it. I don't hate it either. I just think it was commercialized. I think they kind of went more like this is gonna be a big hit with a big remake of a TV show that nobody really cares about anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They should have just dropped it in quietly. Probably would have done better business.
I'll say the first time I watched it, I kind of dismissed it. Like, okay, that was just not all that great. And then I had to rewatch it again as part of for somebody's strength on a trivia match. And I was like, I actually don't mind this movie. I mean, I don't love it, but I thought it was actually decent.
Yeah, and then I saw the remake of Dumbo, and I know people will call me insane for this, but I think that's better than the original Dumbo. So.
Well, that wouldn't take much for starters because the old yes, Disney,
fair.
Most old Disney aren't actually that good. A lot of them are dreadfully boring. I'm going to be honest here. I mean, yeah, as a kid, you like them because they're cartoons, and back then, that's all you had. They didn't have 24-hour Cartoon Networks and things like this.
Don't give me any examples because you will lose me. So let's just leave it at that.
But as far as the live-action Disney remakes, I just don't really care about most of them. I mean, I've seen probably half of them. But I don't really. Whatever.
I think,
Actually,
I think
here
they
you want a
have
hot
done.
take? I'll give you a hot take. The one that I enjoy most of the live action remakes is Maleficent. But here's why. It's because it took. This is how I thought they were going to go with live action remakes. They took a different take on a story we like, a story we know. They're like, okay, we're going to look at it from the perspective of Maleficent. I'm like, okay, it's something different. But then after that, they just went to carbon copy remakes.
Yeah.
I honestly think the good ones you can pretty much count in one hand. Maybe get some fingers left over. I do like the Cinderella one. I think that was actually pretty great.
That was decent. Yeah,
Yes, I like Jungle Book pretty
I've
much.
still never seen Jungle Book.
Jungle Book is pretty good. I think Dumbo is actually pretty good, and I do like the one they made for Disney Plus for Lady and the Tramp,
Haven't I
which
watched that either?
I
All
think
I
is
know is
better.
I didn't like Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin. I know that.
No, I didn't like Beauty and the Beast,
Or
Aladdin,
Lion
or
King. Oh God.
I think those three. I think the problem with those three is that the movies didn't have anywhere to go because
Right. The originals are so perfect.
Yeah.
exactly when
Whereas
you
you
have
take Cinderella or something, one of these old boring Disney movies, you can really, improve it.
that's the thing when you have a movie that has potential but doesn't really quite get there, and you just update it and make it a little more interesting, that gives you somewhere to grow. But if the movie is perfect from the get-go, where are you gonna go?
I agree.
Okay, we totally went off track. Moving on. Kurt Russell, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is another one where you won't hear as enthusiastic a yes from me because I don't I don't hold the man up in like this legendary regard as a lot of people. But he's one of those guys who, anytime he shows up in movies, like, yeah, I like Kurt Russell. That's cool. I'm glad he's in this. And he just kind of oozes cool, It's his attitude and his acting and everything's really good. I mean, I've even seen his old crappy, computer who wore tennis shoes,
Disney movie.
world's strongest man. Those are a little on the cheesy side. Okay, they're a lot on the cheesy side, but it's still fun. And when he, even to this day, when he shows up in a movie, I see him on a cast list. I'm like, okay, that's gonna be worth seeing. So
We were
Perfect.
talking about this. I think it was Matt that he's usually the best part of
Yeah.
things.
That was Matt.
usually,
Yeah.
That's a yay on Kurt Russell.
This is going to get interesting. Bruce Campbell, yes, no, or Groovy?
I'm gonna say I'm glad you added the third option because I'm gonna say Groovy
Yeah.
because Bruce Campbell's one of those guys when you actually look at his like filmography, he hasn't really done all that much.
No.
And the stuff he has done, a lot of it he's like small part of. And so it's like, I mean, yeah, I love, Evil Dead and Army of Darkness and some of those. But other than that, it's like he's another guy who shows up in a movie and you're like, okay, that's cool. I like Bruce Campbell, but I'm not like, oh, I want to go watch Bruce Campbell movies because there aren't a lot.
He does Alien Apocalypse,
Right.
Terminal Velocity.
Right. I mean, he shows up in all kinds of stuff like, Hudsucker Proxy or Spider-Man or things like this.
Yeah.
And, I enjoy him. I enjoy him in them. But actually, what I really enjoyed of Bruce Campbell? The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
Yes. Yes, that's
I
fucking
loved that
amazing
show when it was on.
Yeah. That is such a fun fucking show. I watched that over and over again. I still have to. I lost my DVD fucking copy of it, so now I've been searching for it to go fucking watch it again.
If I will give you a Bruce Campbell recommendation in case you haven't seen this.
Okay.
We'll watch this.
Yeah.
I have seen that. I did see that.
It's so ridiculous.
That was fun. I like that. It's just the whole concept of it. I'm like, I already knew. I'm like, I'm going to love this movie. And then when it finally came out, it was everything I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's actually a great pick. Also, Baba Hotep.
Yes.
Okay, and for our last question for the day, recommend 2 movies that people wouldn't expect from you.
This is hard because I've been on so many panels and interviews and things that everybody already knows everything that I like. But as far as things that people would not expect from me, I would decide to go with 2. People don't expect me to like a lot of older movies and classics, things like that. So one that I really, really enjoy is Bringing Up Baby. In the last year or 2, I've kind of been trying to fill a lot of those holes in my movie watching with a lot of like Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn and Audrey Hepburn and Jimmy Stewart and all these kind of things. And this is one that I thought was really fun. Just the whole kind of pace of the comedy and the dialogue and everything was really well done. So that's the first one I would recommend.
And just boom, so people can know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Catherine Hepburn and
on HBO Max right now too. Anybody needs to see it, it is on HBO Max.
Like a lot of people have been mentioning this lately, but I have not seen this movie. I'm gonna take your word for it, and then I'll let you know if you still have crappy taste.
Yeah, it's just a real, it's a lighthearted comedy. Don't go and expect anything deep and dramatic, but it's just it really is a lot about the acting and the dialogue, because it's a lot of kind of fast paced banter. I really enjoyed that. The other one I would recommend, and people would never expect me to recommend because they know how much I love, Studio Ghibli and anime and things like that. Is actually it's not a Studio Ghibli one, but it is Your Name.
Oh,
Ooh, okay.
I want to say
That
it's
one
like
I still gotta see.
2017. I'm not sure. It was a couple years ago. But it's kind of somewhere between like a body swap movie and this movie called In Your Eyes. I don't know if you saw that one, but it's kind of the same kind of concept. But it's I thought that the animation looked really beautiful, especially the kind of backgrounds and landscapes and things like that was really well done. And I don't usually enjoy anime style animation. And the story, though, I really enjoyed as well. But that's one that I think no one would expect me to recommend. But I think it's worth checking out.
Have you seen this, Mike?
No.
Dude, this one, it's this top-notch movie right here. I actually really enjoyed it so much that I'm very excited to get the next work from this director. He made a movie called Weathering with You.
I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, I saw that was coming out.
It came out in 2019 in Japan, so I don't know if it made it over this side yet. At least not here.
Well, they did one of those like one night only, Fathom Event things where they showed it. Okay. But I don't know. It's probably on Blu-ray and DVD by now. I don't know.
I might look for that. I like Your Name so much that I would buy Weathering with You blindly just because of how much I like his previous work. But yeah, this movie particularly, it's a body swap movie, but at the same time, it's also a time displacement movie. It's not really time travel; it's more like time displacement. Mm-hmm. But it's not obvious from the beginning what is happening, and it's really interesting. And if you want to see animation that is not done for little kids, this is a very good example.
Yeah. The time displacement. I actually forgot about that. It's kind of done in the same way. I don't know who's seen these movies besides me, but like the Lake House with Keanu Reeves, and it's kind of a little bit of that thrown in there too, because they're talking to each other 2 different times. Frequency, yes, frequency.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, it did surprise me with some of your picks.
Yeah.
I was expecting something a bit on the crazier side, but
isn't that the whole point? Is they're supposed to be surprised to hear from me?
Yes, that's true. That is true. So,
just so you know, Weathering with You, it looks like it's going to hit the U.S. Blu-ray and stuff in September 15th.
Oh, okay.
Pre-order thing then. Nice. Thank you very much for joining us today, Mr. Michaels.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Called to an Interview with a very interesting episode. Very interesting, man.
Bill and Ted talk, which I am surprised by.
Well, I'm not going to put Bill and Ted as like my, Alex Winter is not my favorite actor. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but it's just movies I really enjoy.
Okay. We have to keep on brand. I forgot about something. There we go. Yeah. So, that's all for today.
Awkward silence. Okay.
Always.
Thank you, Brian, for showing up, man.
We need to put something so they can copyright strike us. If not, we make too much money.
If you aren't in trouble, you aren't having fun.
Thanks for coming. This has been Called to an Interview. We'll be here all week. See you guys.